Many people follow the recommendation to drink water on an empty stomach. However, an important question arises. Could this habit be turning into a hidden health threat? Morning ailments, such as dizziness, fluctuating blood pressure, or increased anxiety, are sometimes attributed not to age-related changes or diet, but specifically to the way fluids are consumed. This article aims to reveal how water can become a true ally for the body, rather than a source of problems. Drinking water in the morning hours appears at first glance to be a completely harmless and even beneficial practice. However, if that were truly the case, there wouldn't be so many complaints, such as dizziness upon standing, a racing heart after drinking, or uncomfortable stomach gurgling. Many people are familiar with these symptoms. The crux of the problem lies in the fact that morning is a unique time for the human body, which functions extremely delicately during this period, as if balancing on thin ice. You can imagine the human body as an old car in winter. You can't instantly start it by pressing the gas pedal to the floor. First, the engine needs to warm up gradually. Now, imagine a glass of cold water suddenly poured into such a system in the morning. What would be the result? Internal organs, including the stomach, liver, and heart, would experience spasms. Their function would be disrupted, and they would actively resist. This is precisely how an unprepared body reacts to a sudden influx of fluid. In the morning, most systems are still at rest. The nervous system functions slowly, the stomach hasn't activated, and blood vessels are constricted. Ignoring these characteristics leads to water, instead of providing expected benefits, potentially becoming a source of significant stress, especially if consumed quickly, in large volumes, and cold. This is equivalent to giving the body a sudden, unprepared jolt. A vivid real-life example is the case of Anna Petrovna, a 67-year-old woman. Following her doctor's recommendation, she began drinking water in the mornings to normalize her blood pressure. Anna Petrovna diligently followed the advice, but she drank the water quickly, in one gulp, without getting out of bed. After about a week, she started experiencing severe dizziness, comparable to the sensation of being on a carousel. It turned out that the cause of her discomfort was precisely the abrupt way she consumed the fluid, not issues with her blood pressure. After she switched to warm water and started drinking it slowly, in small sips, all the unpleasant symptoms disappeared. This case clearly demonstrates that the same habit can bring both benefits and harm, depending on the nuances of its application. Morning is not the right time for any sudden impacts on the body. Even water should enter the body smoothly and gently. To fully understand why the body exhibits such a specific reaction to water immediately upon waking, it's essential to delve deeper into the processes occurring within it throughout the night. While a person is immersed in sleep, their body continues to work tirelessly, performing numerous vital functions without visible signs or noise. It actively maintains optimal temperature, regulates breathing, engages in cell regeneration, blood filtration, and conducts complex biochemical reactions in every organ. All these processes require a significant amount of water. Surprisingly, the body can lose up to 1 liter of fluid in a single night. This happens even if a person hasn't woken up, hasn't sweated, and hasn't used the restroom. While the consciousness is in deep sleep, water evaporates with breath, is released through sweat, and is used to power internal organs. This process is imperceptible but extremely important, as by morning, the body wakes up in a state of fluid deficit, like a drained battery. This is particularly acute in older age, when the body's restorative systems no longer function as efficiently as in youth. Most critically, vital minerals, potassium, magnesium, and sodium, are also lost along with water. These elements act as internal batteries, ensuring the uninterrupted functioning of the heart, brain, and muscles. Without these crucial elements, blood becomes more viscous, significantly hindering the heart's pumping action, and the brain, deprived of sufficient, life-giving fluid, resembles a shriveled raisin, incapable of clear thinking. As a result, a person feels profoundly exhausted, as if they hadn't rested at all. Let's take a real-life example. Sergei Ivanovich, 72, regularly complained of morning fogginess in his head and weakness in his arms, as if recovering from an illness. His doctor attributed it to age-related changes. However, one day Sergei Ivanovich stumbled upon an article about dehydration during sleep and decided to try drinking warm water in small portions in the mornings, adding a pinch of salt. After just 1 week, he was astonished by the changes. He felt a noticeable increase in energy, his head cleared, and his morning dizziness stopped. This happened simply because he gave his body what it desperately needed. This is why it's crucial not just to drink water in the mornings, but to do so consciously and correctly. Because overnight the body loses not only moisture, but also vital energy and valuable minerals. Therefore, our task is to provide it with gentle, careful, and timely support. But how do you recognize that your body is already signaling a critical lack of water? What signs does it give, and why do we so often ignore them? Often, morning malaise is attributed to age-related changes, the influence of magnetic storms, or yesterday's stress, while the true cause can be simply a fluid deficiency. Our body has the ability to communicate its distress, but it does so in its own way, through symptoms that we often don't notice or misinterpret. Here are several characteristic signs. Dry mouth and chapped lips, creating the sensation as if a strong wind blew on them all night. Slight dizziness when trying to get out of bed, reminiscent of motion sickness on a carousel. The appearance of floaters or flashes before the eyes. General heaviness and sluggishness when even lifting an arm for a cup seems an insurmountable task. Cramps in the calf muscles or feet, especially occurring at night or early morning. And another significant indicator is the color and smell of urine. If it's dark and has a strong odor, it indicates that the body simply lacks enough fluid to adequately dilute metabolic waste products. Let's share a story from one of our readers, Elena Sergeyevna, 65. I wake up in the morning feeling like I've been run over by a train. No energy, aching legs, lips dry as paper. She believed these were signs of aging. However, after reading about dehydration, Elena Sergeyevna decided to try drinking warm water in small sips. In just a week, she felt a noticeable difference. Her dry mouth improved, and her legs bothered her much less. It's important to realize, dehydration is not a minor issue. Even a slight fluid deficit leads to blood thickening, impairs kidney function, and slows down metabolic processes. And if this condition recurs every morning, it inevitably leads to the development of chronic malfunctions in the body. This is why it's so important not just to drink water in the mornings, but to listen carefully to your body. It warns you in advance about critical resource depletion. The only question is whether you will recognize that signal. When the body hasn't fully activated in the morning, a large glass of water can feel like a bucket poured over one's head, especially if a person suffers from low blood pressure, has a sensitive stomach, or simply takes a while to get going in the mornings. This is where the so-called 3-sip rule comes to the rescue. Its essence is extremely simple. Don't rush and gulp down water. Instead, take 3 slow, conscious sips. The water should be room temperature or slightly warmer. There's no need to even get out of bed. Just sit up, take a deep breath, and unhurriedly, without fuss, take a few sips. Each sip should be followed by a short pause. The goal is not just to quench thirst, but to send a gentle signal to the body. Wake up, everything is calm. Why is this method so effective? For a sensitive stomach, a large volume of water causes irritation, whereas 3 sips act like a gentle massage, initiating the digestive system's work gently and without stress. With low blood pressure, a glass of fluid can lower it even further, while a few sips provide a gentle start without overload. In cases of pancreatic issues, abrupt water intake can trigger premature enzyme activation. It's much preferable to start gradually. For people prone to anxiety, morning stomach rumbling after cold water can only intensify discomfort. Warm water and unhurried intake are like a morning hug for oneself. Lyudmila Vasilyevna shared her experience. I always thought I was drinking water correctly, a whole glass right away in the morning. But then stomach pains started. I tried 3 sips, and my stomach became much calmer. And that wild anxiety that used to hit me in the mornings also disappeared. It turns out I just needed to take my time. It's important to remember, the 3-sip rule is not a fad or a whim. It can be compared to a gentle startup of a complex system, especially if your body is not a racing car, but rather a reliable yet sensitive apparatus. However, what if you wake up feeling refreshed and full of energy? Your stomach is comfortable, and your blood pressure is normal. In that case, a different approach might suit you. Drinking a full glass of water in the morning. If you feel a surge of energy in the morning, don't suffer from digestive problems, blood pressure fluctuations, or increased anxiety, then a full glass of water can become your true ally. The main condition is not to gulp it down, like student tea in a couple of seconds, but to drink it slowly, as if savoring something important. The water should be room temperature, without harsh additives, without gas, and strictly on an empty stomach. Why is this necessary? Water effectively kickstarts intestinal peristalsis. This is especially relevant for those who experience constipation or whose intestinal system wakes up with difficulty in the mornings. Furthermore, water helps awaken the entire body by activating metabolism. It's like throwing logs onto a fire. The body begins to actively generate heat, and metabolism kicks into gear. Water also fills the stomach. If you're managing your weight or your morning appetite is off the charts, water can help slightly curb hunger, allowing you to eat less at breakfast. And finally, water is simply essential fuel. Without it, no internal engine can function. Let's look at an example from medical practice. Vladimir Alexandrovich's doctor recommended he drink water in the mornings to improve digestion. He started pouring himself 200 milliliters of warm water, calmly sat down at the table, and drank it slowly. After 2 weeks, he noticed significant improvements. His bowel movements normalized, the feeling of heaviness after meals disappeared, and he started drinking less coffee. This happened simply because his body began to function smoothly, without jolts or overloads. However, there's one important condition. If you decide to drink a whole glass of water, listen carefully to how you feel. For some people, even 150 milliliters of water at once can cause heaviness or a sudden rise in blood pressure. In such cases, it's better to divide the intake, half a glass now, and the remaining half after 15 to 20 minutes. This drip method is especially beneficial for people over 65, when the heart and kidneys function more slowly and require gentler treatment. Many confidently declare, "I don't feel like drinking in the morning, so my body doesn't need it." This sounds logical, but it's one of the most insidious misconceptions, especially for people over 50. The fact is that the thirst mechanism functions less effectively with age. It can be compared to a dispatcher who should promptly report, "Not enough water," but instead of an alarm signal, there's complete silence. The brain center responsible for the sensation of thirst becomes less sensitive over the years, and sometimes stops signaling altogether. Even if the body is already severely dehydrated, a person might feel fatigue, exhaustion, headache, and dry mouth, but not connect these symptoms with a lack of water. They think they simply didn't get enough sleep, when in reality their blood is thick, their brain lacks moisture, and their heart is working overtime, like an engine without oil. A real-life example. Irina Borisovna complained, "In the morning I drink coffee and that's it. I don't feel thirsty." Her doctor recommended she still start her day with 100 ml of warm water, not based on thirst, but as part of her morning routine. At first, she drank the water reluctantly, without desire, but after a week she suddenly noticed. The heaviness in her head was gone, her blood pressure became more stable, and even her skin suffered less from dryness. It turned out that her body had simply forgotten how to ask for water, but as soon as it started receiving it, it immediately responded with gratitude. This is why it's important not to wait until you feel thirsty, but to form a habit. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until bad breath appears. You just know it's necessary. However, even if you decide to drink water in the morning, there are risks of negating all its benefits through incorrect actions. Even regular morning water intake doesn't guarantee its beneficial effects. Details matter. Sometimes, minor mistakes render the habit useless, and occasionally even dangerous. The first common mistake, drinking ice-cold water. Some are convinced that cold water is invigorating, but it's not an energy boost. Rather, it's stress for the body. The stomach sharply contracts, blood vessels constrict, and the liver freezes. This is equivalent to pouring cold water on a hot engine. The result is a feeling of heaviness, nausea, or even spasms. In the morning, room temperature or slightly warm water is necessary. The second mistake, drinking in one gulp. Gulping down an entire glass in 3 seconds is not an achievement, but an excessive load. The heart and kidneys receive a sudden large volume of fluid. Instead of benefit, you get blood pressure spikes and a racing heart. You should drink slowly in small sips. This allows the body to calmly accept the water rather than forcing it to defend itself. The third common mistake is taking pills with water. Some people drink water immediately after waking up and then take their medication. However, in the morning, the digestive system is still at rest. The pill might not be properly absorbed, especially on an empty stomach. Always check with your doctor whether it's permissible to take a particular medication on an empty stomach. It's better to consume water 20 to 30 minutes before or after taking medication. The fourth mistake is forgetting about minerals. When water is lost, the body also loses magnesium and potassium. Plain water might pass through without replenishing these important reserves. Sometimes just adding a pinch of sea or Himalayan salt can make the water absorbed entirely differently. Electrolytes are like oil in an engine. Without them, all systems start to creak. The fifth mistake is drinking water instead of eating. Some mistakenly believe, "I'll drink water and it will be a cleansing detox." However, the stomach receives a signal that food is coming, starts actively producing digestive juices, but there's no food. This results in heartburn, pain, and over time, gastritis can develop. Water should be drunk before meals, and breakfast should be eaten separately. Don't deceive your stomach. Each of these mistakes is easily correctable. You just need to be a little more attentive to yourself. Plain water itself already provides benefits, but if you know what and how to add to it, you can turn it into an almost medicinal drink. The main thing is not to overdo it because what benefits one person might harm another. Lemon water is a classic option for morning detox. Lemon has an invigorating effect, adds a slight tartness, and stimulates bile flow. As a source of vitamin C, it also supports the immune system. Who is it suitable for? Those who don't have issues with stomach acidity, ulcers, or gastritis. Who should be cautious? Those with high acidity, heartburn, or sensitive tooth enamel. In such cases, it's recommended to drink through a straw or rinse your mouth after consumption. Raisin water. A handful of raisins is steeped in boiling water overnight. In the morning, the resulting infusion is consumed. It is believed to gently support the liver and is a source of potassium. Who is it suitable for? Those with general fatigue, weakness, or sluggish bowels. Who should be cautious? Those with diabetes and exacerbations of digestive system diseases. Flaxseed jelly. A teaspoon of flax seeds is poured into a glass of boiling water and left to steep. The result is a thick infusion that coats the stomach and gently cleanses the intestines. Who is it suitable for? Those with gastritis, constipation, or a sluggish digestive system. Who should be cautious? Those prone to diarrhea, or with gallbladder or pancreatic issues. Water with a pinch of salt. Sea or Himalayan salt are natural sources of electrolytes. This is especially beneficial for older adults who lose magnesium and sodium overnight. Who is it suitable for? Those with cramps, dry skin, or morning fatigue. Who should be cautious? Those with high blood pressure and kidney diseases. The main rule: one additive, one action. You shouldn't mix lemon with salt, raisins with flax, and so on. In the morning, the body needs something singular, clear, and gentle. But even perfectly chosen water with the right additive won't yield the desired result if consumed in a hurry and without due respect for your body. Morning is a kind of ritual. This means it's important not only what you drink, but also how you do it. Many think, woke up, immediately grab a glass of water. However, the body is not a faucet that can simply be turned on. It's like a musical instrument. First, it needs to be tuned, and then you can play. And if you want water to truly bring benefits, It's important not only to drink it correctly, but also to prepare for this action. Here's what you should do before the first sip touches your lips. First, morning oral hygiene. Many bacteria accumulate in the mouth overnight. If you don't rinse your mouth, they will enter your stomach along with the water. A simple rinse with warm water or mouthwash is sufficient. You can also clean your tongue with a scraper or the back of your toothbrush. Second, deep breathing. Sit upright in bed. Take 3 to 4 slow breaths through your nose and exhale through your mouth. This helps oxygenate the blood, wake up calmly, and stabilize blood pressure. Third, stretching and light warm-up. This shouldn't be an exhausting workout, but just gentle movements. Include neck turns, shoulder rotations, and wrist and ankle circles. You can also massage your ears. Active points are located there that promote a surge of vigor. Let's take a real-life example. Dmitry did the exact opposite. He jumped out of bed, drank water standing at the sink in a hurry, and then complained of ringing in his ears. His doctor advised Dmitry to change his approach, not to rush, to sit down, perform breathing exercises, rinse his mouth, and only then proceed to drink water. At first, Dmitry was skeptical of these recommendations, but after just a week, he began to feel significantly more stable in the mornings, and his morning dizziness completely disappeared. Now let's consider what to do after drinking water. Coffee or tea is recommended 15 to 30 minutes later. During this interval, water has time to activate metabolism and prepare the stomach for further food intake. It's advisable to have breakfast no earlier than 20 minutes after drinking water. This pause allows the body to produce necessary enzymes, which contributes to easier and more efficient food absorption. Regarding medication intake, if a drug is prescribed to be taken on an empty stomach, you should take it first, and then, after a pause, drink water. If the medication is taken after food, the sequence should be first water, then breakfast, and only then the medication. It is extremely important to always carefully read the medication's instructions and consult with your treating physician. The morning ritual of drinking water can be compared to a meticulously staged play, where each individual scene plays a key role. At first glance, it seems like a simple action, getting up and drinking water. However, if all steps are performed in the correct sequence, the achieved effect will be significantly more pronounced. In conclusion, it should be noted, drinking water in the mornings is not just a trendy habit or some magical act. It's a fundamental adjustment for the body, designed to ensure a healthy start to the day. The key aspect is a conscious approach, including consideration of age, general well-being, individual body characteristics, and the understanding that even a single sip of water can become a healing remedy if taken with due attention and respect for one's own body.